This is Bob Mayer, and welcome to my survival video series. This one is on Rogers Rules of Rangering. These are SOPs, standing operating procedures. The reason I covered these are classics, and they apply to a lot more than just the military. In 1759, Major Robert Rogers wrote standing orders, Rogers Rangers, from lessons they learned in combat on the frontier. I call them blood lessons because people died to learn these lessons. And these seem real simple, but people have continued, they violate them to these days at a high cost in blood. Here's my old Ranger handbook. Keep it in a Ziploc bag in your pocket all the time, no matter what you're doing. What is a standard operating procedure? It's something written down. I'm a big fan of writing things down. That's how I ended up with my preparation survival guide, how I ended up with my Green Beret guide to success, my novel writing guide. When I was in the military, I constantly wrote things down. When I first reported to my A team, one of the things they taught us was ask for their team SOP. So I asked for my SOP, and they said, "Oh no, we don't have it written down. We know it all." And I said, "That's nice. Let's write it down." And it took a long time to write it down. SOPs are very hard to do, but they're very, very necessary. Don't forget nothing. That's a good one. Have your musket clean as a whistle, hatchet scoured, 60 rounds powder and ball, ready to march at a minute's warning. And that sounds a bit facetious, but ready to march at a minute's warning was our SOP anytime we made a patrol base. You didn't unpack anything out of your ruck that you couldn't put back in less than a minute, and you had to be ready to move if we needed to inside of a minute. If you put up a poncho hooch, you had to be able to take that sucker down and move. When you're in a march, act as the way as you would if you were sneaking up on deer. See the enemy first. Number 4 is a big one. I emphasize this in all my leadership positions. Tell the truth about what you see and what you do. That goes two ways. Leaders have to tell their followers the truth too. Don't take a chance when you don't have to. That sometimes goes against the old mission and the men thing, but I'm a big believer the men come first. When we're on the march, we march single file, far enough apart so one shot can't go through two men. That's my team up in the mountains, up above 10,000 feet on a deployment. If we strike swamps or soft grounds, we spread out abreast so it's hard to track us. We don't make a rut in things. I actually had an experience where we did make a rut one time and got followed. When we march, we keep moving until dark so as to give the enemy the least possible chance at us. And often move slightly. After it gets dark, you move wherever you stopped at in case they noted where you stopped at. You move your position, your patrol base just a little bit. When we camp, half the party stays awake while the other half sleeps. That's basic security. We take prisoners, we keep them separate till we have time to examine them so they don't cook up a story. This isn't just for the military. The police have to do this too. Don't ever go back the same way. Don't do things the same way. Mogadishu, in the story in Black Hawk Down, they did that mission the same way, and it cost them. No matter whether we travel in big parties or little ones, have to keep a scout out front and on either side and in the rear so we don't get surprised. Every night at the patrol base, you're told where you're going to link up with if something happens, if you get attacked. And it's the same thing true in basic survival. You have an IRP, an immediate rally point, and an emergency rally point in your house. Don't sleep beyond dawn. Dawn's when the French and Indians attack. Actually, it is about the time you're the most tired. That we call BMNT, begin morning nautical twilight. Visibility's kind of screwed up. Everybody's tired. Don't cross a river by a regular ford. If someone's trailing you, make a circle, come back onto your own tracks, and ambush the folks that aim to ambush you. Don't stand up when the enemy's coming at you. Kneel, lie down, hide behind a tree. My first platoon sergeant told me there's two firing positions. There's the prone firing position and the flying prone, which is if you're standing up and you get shot at, you're on your way to the ground. Those are just some of the many SOPs in the Ranger Handbook, but they do apply to things more than that. You know, they're a key part of anything, of both preparedness and actually reacting to things. On a side note, I use Major Rogers and the Execution of Nathan Hale in one of my time patrol books, the EQUINOX. That's one of the 6 short stories inside of that book. I cover how to develop them in the Green Beret Preparation and Survival Guide. This red box is on all my web pages, and if you click on that, you'll get a document that has links to everything, all the books, free apps, web pages. gear I list in my things. There's all my books there for nonfiction regarding to survival or leadership. My little black books, I designed them to entertain but also inform. And this is my background and my webpage if you use the QR code or bobmayer.com.